Hey everyone!
Friends, it's book haul time
Yes,
today.
it is.
So we've got a bunch of books to share with you, so we might as well get started. So we're gonna do the same thing we did last month, where we talk a little bit about books that we received that we didn't know we were getting, basically.
But we are very thankful and grateful anyway.
So we wanted to give a shout out by showing the books on the channel. First, we have a historical romance called Anything But a Duke by Christy Carlisle, who is not an author I'm familiar with. Funnily enough, I have 2 copies of this next book. I have an art copy and a finished copy of Cold Day in the Sun by Sarah Bieran. This is a small town hockey contemporary romance, as far as I understand it. My friend Ginger from G Reads really loves it. Should have said, actually. This one was from Avon Books, and this was from Abrams.
Cool.
Speaking of Abrams, they also sent 2 more things. We have The Boy Next Story by Tiffany Schmidt. This is part of her Bookish Boyfriend series, and this one is inspired by Little Women. I think the first one was inspired by Pride and Prejudice. So I am very curious because I do love Little Women. And then we have Happy, Messy, Scary Love by Leah Conan. I have no idea what this one is about, I'll be honest, but it also sounds like it's going to be a YA contemporary romance type situation. The next 2 books are from HMH Teen. First we have White Rose, which is by Kip Wilson, and this is historical fiction told in verse, and I think it's set during World War I. I'm pretty sure Jane from It's Jane Lindsay has read this and really enjoyed it, so I'm also going to be reading it as well. And the last one is Voices, The Final Hours of Joan of Arc by David Elliott. It is also told in verse, and this basically recounts the last few hours of Joan of Arc's life.
This next one's from Athenaeum, and it is a true-to-life account of the, called Rising Water, a true-to-life account of the story of the Thai cave rescue. So it's made the news pretty big. The Thai football team, they were kind of exploring down some caves, and they got totally trapped because the water started to rise, and like the whole world got involved in trying to get them out. This next book is from Tor Teen. So this is what we got from Tor this month. It's called The Tesla Legacy by KK Perez. It's about a girl who discovers that she has control over electricity. Like, apparently in this world, people like Nikola Tesla and herself have genes from Lucy, I guess. People who have that thing, they're in danger, blah, blah, blah. With science, people want to get in touch with them, and so they're like, oh, what's going to happen to me? So it's one of those teen action movie things. So we'll see how that goes. From Knopf Books is XL. 16-year-old Will is like super kind of short for his age. The girl he's been pining for since like 5th grade is like 5'10", and his best friend / stepbrother is like 6'1" or 6'2", and he's like shy, just a few inches shy of 5 feet or some stuff like that. And so, but then things happen and his support system gets taken away, and that's when he starts to grow. And I don't know if that's like physical when he gets to his growth spurt. I don't know if they give him that or if he's just like, I'm a better person now, but also still at 5'2". But sounds cute. Sounds like a nice kind of like teen movie that would come out, so we'll see how that goes. And then we have a book that I definitely was not expecting in the mail, and this one is from William Morrow, and it is Under the Table by Stephanie Ivanovich. Okay, another book that we got, which looks very creepy, is Heartwood Box by Anne Aguirre, and it says, in this tiny, terrifying town, the lost are never found. And this is from Tor Teen as well. So since we were already talking about review books, we're just going to go ahead and run through a couple of other ones that we got. First, we're going to talk about this box that I received. I was not expecting this box to come in the mail, but I'm very excited. It's for a book called The Devouring Grave by Christine Lynn Herman, and my friend Kristen from Super Space Chick read this one early and absolutely loved it. It's basically sort of got Stranger Things vibes to it from what she's told me, and it's set in this small town. The box also included a few other goodies. We have a shirt that says Welcome to 4 Paths, or a tank top actually that says that. A pocket for the back of your smartphone that also says The Devouring Grey. We have a stick of chocolate, which I'm sure Mackie's gonna try to commandeer. And we have with a book,
a candle.
Oh, cute.
Which smells really good actually.
Oh, blueberry-ish.
Yes, so this is all the stuff. It is actually coming out on April 2, so by the time this video goes up, you're probably gonna be able to get it in stores. I'm really excited to read it actually. So other review books that I got that I am very excited about. So we have The True Queen, which is by Zen Cho, and this is from Ace Books, and this is actually a companion novel to Sorcerer, what is it? Sorcerer to the Crown. That's what it's called.
In my head it was like Sorcerer Supreme. No.
No. It's about 2 sisters, and they end up having this sort of, I don't know if it's a curse or if it's like just a condition, and so she has to venture off to Britain in order to go to the magic school where women are being taught magic in order to figure out a solution to that. And then we have The Candle and the Flame by Nafisa Azad. Don't know anything about it, I'll be honest, but look at that cover though. A girl with the fire of a Jinni, a city scarred by violence. And we have The Editor by Stephen Rowley, and this is basically about a novelist who gets his big break with this really big time editor and their relationship. We have Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. This is from Penguin, and this is the story of a girl who is actually a gomiho, which is like a nine-tailed fox in Korean mythology. Gomihos actually take their energy from young men to survive, and so she encounters this boy, and they have, you know, a moment, and he ends up in possession of her fox speed, which is basically what gives her life, and so she has to track him down, but also avoid being caught by other people. It's a thing. Can't wait to read it. Birthday by Meredith Russo, which is about two friends, Morgan and Eric. They were born on the same day, born in the same hospital, and this traces their relationship for like 18 years. Thanks to my friend Melissa from Disney. A couple of things.
Yes.
So we're going to start with All Our Broken Pieces by L.D. Crichton. YA contemporary. It looks like the main character has OCD, and there's also a musical aspect to the story, which very much into. Arusha and the Song of Death by Roshni Chokshi, which is the sequel to Arusha and the End of Time. Look how fabulous that cover is. I am so excited. I quite enjoyed it. In this one, Aru is being accused of stealing the god of love's bow and arrow. Sorry. And so she has to venture into a different
She's like in her
realm.
pajamas and you're like, you stop. It's like when she's like eating like cereal. What?
She's like,
so funny.
in this one,
Love her
obviously,
so
she has
much.
to prove her innocence, and so she teams up with her usual companions, but also ends up teaming with a new one who happens to be a boy.
Interesting.
And I also have The Firekeeper by J.C. Cervantes, which is the sequel to The Storm Runner. And so Zane Obispo still has a task. Can't say it because Mackie hasn't read that first one.
That's right.
But yeah, he's got things to do after this one, so he's got to make it happen.
I didn't purchase any physical copies of anything this month, but I did buy like a crap ton of digital things. So let's start with the entire Grisha series, like all of it, literally. So we're talking Shattered Bones, Siege and Storm, Ruin and Rising, and then of course Language of Thorns, because that's like the little companion kind of novelette collection of things, stories set in the Grishaverse, fairy tales, and then of course Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, still my favorite installment of that entire thing, and of course King of Scars, which who doesn't love King of Scars? I mean the guy, not the book. Who doesn't love that guy? I do.
Who doesn't love that guy?
I love that guy so much. He's awesome. And someday when I grow up, I will be just like him. In the spirit of Alexa's Shadowhunter binge, I finally also got myself a copy of the Infernal Devices on Kindle, because they're the books that I will take with me where pretty much ever. I also bought these following digital comics because Comixology is on sale 2 days, so it's probably not going to be on sale by the time this video comes up. But in preparation for Batman's like 1000th Detective Comics, or Batman's like 80 years of, I don't know, it was a Batman thing. Every single Batman thing went on sale. Everything, like everything that has a Bat family, Bat title thing is now there. Without further ado, the first group of TPBs, because they're selling for like $5 a pop, I was able to get all three of the Batgirl, Cassandra Cain Batgirl's run. Basically, Cassandra Cain is a tiny little assassin child that was raised.
A tiny little assassin.
Well, she was from a very young age. She was trained to be an assassin to the point where her speech functions were shunted towards like reading movement and understanding them before they could go, making her particularly deadly. Eventually, she has a change of heart, and Bruce adopts her, and now she, for a longish while before the New 52, became Batgirl, and that was a really, really great run. And she was teamed up with Tim, I think. That was the batch right there. I was able to get Dark Knight's medal, so that's this weird all the other Elseworlds Batmans that became villains coming together. I don't know what that was about, but I figured this is a great cheap way to get around it because I'm super cheap. And then Batman Catwoman, the wedding album. So yes, Batsy and Catsy tied the knot. Speaking of knots, Batgirl and Robin year 1. That's super interesting because I am anybody who knows me long enough to let me talk knows that I am Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon trash.
Dick Grayson.
And although people have a lot of feels for Dick and Starfire because that was a legit real thing, what can I say? The guy likes redheads. Anyway, I was able to get 2 Batman Beyond titles. So Hush Beyond, which is really cool how they're gonna take Hush and put that in, because I thought Hush was such a compelling Batman villain who basically wanted a single white female Bruce Wayne. And then I was able to get Batgirl Beyond, which is super cool as well. For fun, I got Batgirl: A Celebration of 50 Years. Finally. Every pre-52 Birds of Prey TPB. Yes, that's right, pre-52. Because the new 52 Birds of Prey kind of like it didn't sit well with me. Even if Gail Simone still did an excellent job in writing, it's just I kind of missed the old kind of narratives and how Oracle is in a wheelchair. Oracle doesn't exist in the new 52. because she was Batgirl, and that's fine. Love that Babs got her legs back, but also I miss Oracle. So, not that I wanted her to not have legs, it's just, it was such a compelling character arc that sort of went all the way upwards. And so, and on a fun note, I will end here, I did get a chance to meet Gail Simone at a comic book place where I had her sign my Death of Oracle
That's
TPB.
right, I forgot about that.
The brief conversation that ensued basically said that, you know, Babs isn't there, like the New 52 Babs is young, and so she's not there yet. She's not achieved the growth and the challenges that Oracle you know, did, and I guess they were leading her there. So I'm like, okay, that's cool, got your journey, but I miss our information hub. So there.
Like her, like, I miss our information.
I say that like I'm part of the league.
Are you though? Maybe
see.
that's your secret
That is
identity.
my secret identity.
So I decided, because I've been doing so well at sharing all of the ebooks that I get with you guys, both for review and for purchase, or things that I purchased anyway, I thought I would quickly run through them for this video. So first, I'm going to already say Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas, which by some miracle I didn't actually own until this month. I normally have the Kindle edition so I can read it at the stroke of midnight, but that one I read a little early, so I didn't buy the Kindle edition at the time. But now that Mackie's reading it and we've switched Kindles, needed to get it, and it's Kale's book, so we all know that I'm trash for Kale, and I will absolutely get that.
That's why she searched for a bit. Okay, that makes sense.
We have East in Paradise by Tiff Marcello, who is absolutely lovely. I got the chance to meet her at ApollyCon. This is the companion novel sequel to her first novel, which is North to You. And in this one, it is about Bryn Aquino, who is the cousin of the love interest in the first book. And she is ready to start her own culinary inspired business. She ends up working side by side with a returned former military person, and things happen. As for review stuff, I got Finale by Stephanie Garber, which is the third and final book in the Caraval series. It brings the stories of the two sisters, Scarlett and Donatella Dragna, together, and we are going to find out how this story is going to play out. I don't remember if there's actually another round of Caraval involved in it, but I'm very, very, very excited for that. I have also gotten Virtually Yours by Sarvanas Tash. This one is about a freshman named Mariam Vakilian, and she hasn't dated anyone in 5 months, and then she finds this coupon for like a virtual dating site type thing.
Okay.
And so she finds herself inadvertently in a weird sort of position where she has two potential matches. Hungry Hearts, which is 13 Tales of Food and Love, and it's basically a collection of short stories that explore food and culture in the lives of 13 different teenagers, and it includes a lot of authors that I really adore, and I cannot wait to get to that one as well. And then we have The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, and this one is about Kristen Peterson. She's basically not in the market for drama or guys who just don't understand her, and so she is also facing a big dilemma because she has to have a procedure that will prevent her from having children in the future. So when she gets involved in planning her best friend's wedding and she meets the sweet best man who pretty much gets her and seems to be her type, she is obviously attracted to him, and she's terrified because of the reality that that might mean for her and him. I also have Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. It's about Kaylin and Dax, and they had a moment when they were both teenagers, and it was an embarrassing one, and she never thought she would see him again, and then one day he shows up in her legal office to ask for advice. New Orleans Rush by Kelly Siskind, and this one is about falling for your surly boss is a rotten idea. Letting him saw you in half is even worse. So it's about Beatrice, who is a magician's assistant, basically. But I don't think her romance is actually with the boss in the end. I don't know. I can't remember, actually. I just know it's a contemporary romance, adult contemporary romance. I have the new Sarah Dessen, the rest of the story, in my hands as well, which is very exciting for me because I am a huge Sarah Dessen fan. Again, another typical Sarah Dessen book where it's about a girl who is grieving over the loss of her mother, and she ends up spending, I think, a summer at the lake where her mom used to spend summers. And so she realizes that when she gets to the lake, it's not quite exactly like it is in her mother's story, and so it's her story and her summer at this lake. We also have Say You Still Love Me by K.A. Tucker. I have not read any book by her, but I am very interested in reading The Simple Wild because Rachel from Hello Chelly and Kristen from Super Space Chick both loved that book. So this one is about Piper Calloway. She is doing really well. She's like a 29-year-old vice president at her dad's real estate company. But on the other hand, she constantly has to fight to prove that she deserves to be in that position, which is exasperating for her. She ends up running into a new security guard for their company who also turns out to be the first love of her life, which... awkward. Hearts Made for Breaking by Jen Klein. It is about 17-year-old Lark, and she knows how to play the high school dating game where you date them, let them down, stay friends, and then you move on.
Wow. Okay.
And then her two best friends decide that they've had enough of that attitude from her, and they wanted to challenge her to stay in a relationship long enough for her or the boy to actually fall in love. I also have A Song of the Crimson Flower by Julie C. Dow, which is very exciting. That's Julie's third novel. It's described as a fantastical new tale of darkness and love in which magical bonds are stronger than blood. Will love break the spell? So we're going to quickly run through the things that I was gifted last month, actually. So my friend DJ gave me his Al Crate exclusive edition of Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. This is a YA fantasy inspired by Japanese mythology. It involves two main characters. The girl main character is a yokai. The guy main character is like a ninja assassin. And it's great. Cannot wait for the sequel. Very excited. I have a collection of Harry Potters. My friend Heidi from YA Bibliophile ended up having a bunch of foreign editions come into her hands, and you guys know I collect the first editions of the book, so I have a bunch. I actually don't know what some of these are. Like this, I actually don't know, and this, also don't know what it is. Funny story about this is I just like having the foreign editions of the first book. I don't know, it's just interesting to me.
So any help to determine what these are?
Yeah, if you guys can tell
very
me
helpful.
what any of these are, it would be very, very appreciated.
As we are not familiar
this
with
I know is French, and I just love that.
How do we know it is French?
Oh, read it. À l'école des sorciers.
Sorcier.
This one is German, I'm pretty sure. Harry Potter. I can't even say it.
What does it say?
Understand du Weisen?
Understand der Weisen. Weisen?
Weisen?
Weisen. I can't.
And this one is definitely Spanish.
Is it though?
Or Italian. It's one or the other.
Y la piedra filosofal. I have no idea.
Yeah. Clearly, we don't have a very good grasp of foreign languages, but I get to add all of these books
I don't know how to pronounce that.
to my collection,
Piedra.
which I'm very, very excited about. And then for books I actually bought myself, we have Field Notes on Love by Jennifer E. Smith, which I got at the beginning of the month because I went to her signing. I love this book. It is about Hugo and May, and they inadvertently end up on a cross-country train trip across America, and it is so good. Like, it's so hard for me to describe this because it's so much more than just that trip. Oh, but it's so good, and I loved it, and I would highly recommend it. And then I have this beautiful repackaged edition of The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab, or Victoria Schwab. I read this book years ago, and I loved it because it had a very strong fairy tale vibe to it, and so I'm looking forward to rereading it in this beautiful edition. Plus, I have heard, ta-da, it has a beautiful under-the-cover secret in there. And then, most recently, my sister and I went to visit Book Culture for the first time this year.
How was it?
It was great. It's a really great bookstore. I wish I lived in Court Square because then I could walk to it. It's Bloom by Kevin Panetta and Savannah Ganucheau. All I really know about this one is that it's set at a bakery in the summertime, and the main character kind of doesn't want to work at the bakery anymore, but also encounters this other boy who wants to work at the bakery, and I'm so excited.
Is plus, it a graphic novel? It's a graphic novel.
All of
That's
the,
pretty.
Illustration styles in blues, and I love that color. For our monthly Kinokuniya date, I ended up acquiring 3 more volumes of manga. To be fair to me, I've already read the first volumes of all of these series, which is why I acquired the second. So I have the second volume of Library Wars, Love and War by Kiro Yumi, the second volume of Happy Marriage by Maki and Joji, and the second 3-in-1 volume of Hanakimi by Hisaya Nakajo. So, quick run through. Hanakimi is the one where the girl has disguised herself as a boy to go to an all-boys high school in Japan to meet her favorite high jumper. This one is the one where the main character agrees to an arranged marriage with the president of her company because it will help with her father's gambling debts, and then they start discovering that there is the possibility for a real relationship with them. And Library Wars is the one where the girl wants to join the library defense force, and in order to do so she has to undergo training, and she ends up training under this really grumpy dude. Favorite trope. But also, as you can tell, there's another grumpy dude who has shown up at the very end of the first volume, so look, I get 2 for the price of 1. Yeah, so those are all the recent purchases. We're gonna finish up my haul shortly, but first, back to Mac.
So I call it a haul from home because it's just basically me digging up stuff from my home library and sort of bringing them here because I
forgot to show the books.
I did have it because I did have a recent trip home to Manila, and then managed to grab some choice books from my library. And so I'm going to start with what Alexa had thrown my way. It was actually technically hers, but we actually have a signed copy that has aged. But only because of the weather back home. It's getting a bit pretty humid and crazy. But it is a signed copy. Where's the signature? Of Lee Bardugo's Shadow and Bone.
I have to take that to be, like, signed again.
Given to me like ages ago.
Whenever this came out. Whatever year
this came out. Obviously it was the first kind of year edition. And
Pretty sure that's the first.
And I was in a weird, funky place then. I was like not reading anything at all. Like at all. After a childhood of reading tons of stuff, and so I brought it back, and I thought this was nice. It means so much to me, and it's coming back. For any Buffy fans out there, this was the graphic novel Frey. My copy, it's plastic covered because I used to take care of my books back in the day. This came out long before the season. For those of you who've watched Buffy in its entirety, you will recognize the weapon at on the front cover. This came out, I think, in Buffy season 4 because Joss Whedon just wanted to write a Slayer story that was so far removed from the Buffyverse that he thought it would interrupt the story, and then the guy goes and ties it all together at the very end. So I love that Frey's set in literally hundreds of years into the future. It's still held up today. It's still a good standalone. But for those of you who love the mythology, like, you don't have to know Buffy myths because she doesn't know the Buffy myths. That's her deal. Like, she has no idea what's going on, and then to figure out what life is like, and apparently she is a Slayer. On top of that, I found my copy of Once More with Feeling, the sheet music, because that Buffy musical, for its all, it won its awards and its accolades. It's I think this is the entire script and book, and this is the entire script and the score of Once More with Feeling, and I'm really just living for old-timey Oklahoma musical stuff. So there's that. Another graphic novel that I did dig up would be a local comic that was published back in Manila called Mythology Class by Arnold Are. This was classic. I was in college-ish when I figured this out. I know. I brought this for you, actually, interestingly enough. And it's a story about a group of students who have a mythology class that just... and that was it, that they studied like mythology in it, but all of the things that they studied suddenly come to life because
that's amazing.
Planetary things align, and it's completely based on Philippine mythology, and it's really good. I'm so excited for her to read it. I want to reread it, but it is definitely something that I brought home for you. What's so great about the mythology class is that see, all of these characters, they all have fleshed out arcs. One thing about what Arnold Are has done with this thing is he was able to, he was able to take so many characters and give them something meaningful towards the end. As opposed to, random side character number 7 has a cool quippy line, and then that's it.
And then dies.
Anyway, for those of you who don't know, obviously the good guys here are the legendary kind of heroes, and then the bad guys are the aswangs. So which are like Filipino for vampires and monsters, like demons that basically shapeshift and eat things. And then I was able to unearth my copy of The Trouble Twisters by Garth Nix and Sean Williams. Another middle grade book.
There's a cat.
Yeah, I know. It's about a couple of kids who have powers.
There's a talking cat.
And it's Garth Nix. So anything Garth Nix is definitely
There's a cat.
My deal. And finally, I was able to get my Isabel Allende trilogy. I think it's the only young adult / middle grade.
I am not familiar with her work.
Books that she's called City of Beasts, Kingdom of the Golden Dragon, and I did not find the dust jacket for this one, Forest of the Pygmies. So this follows the story of Alexander and Nadia. So Alexander is a 15-year-old. His name is Alexander. Yes, goes to like the jungles, meets Nadia there, and they go on an epic quest together, and they find their spirit animals, the jaguar and the eagle, or something like that. And it follows them as they grow up. And I am down for adventures with my soon-to-be future best friend, and that we might have a ship. So clearly, I ship that hard. And then I don't know where book 1 is, but back in the day when they used to publish like tiny books. This is the Monster Hunters. Is anybody? I'm so old. But the Monster Hunters were a series. You don't have this here, but the first Monster Hunters book was The Tale of the Watchful Neighbors, or something like that, where Brian Larrabee comes to his little home farm house town, and then a weird family moves in the next door, and they don't know if they're vampires or not. Book 2 is about werewolves. Book 3 is about a ghost, which I really love because it taught me about Morse code. Book 4 is about a dragon. And then oddly enough, years later, I didn't know there was a book 5. Lost my mind. Apparently, there is a book 5, Mystery of the Watchful Witches. So they're all by Nancy Garden. This was back in the day when middle grade was. Yeah, these were the first books that I checked out of when I checked out of the library when I was in second grade. Middle grade. Serialized middle grade is a real thing. Yeah.
So that was heavy. So the last thing I'm going to show you guys are all the things I picked up while I was at ApollyCon. I went to ApollyCon last month. It was absolutely delightful. I love going. So much fun to see friends and authors and all of that good stuff. First is Cursed by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and this is actually her debut novel. I've never read it. Don't know anything about what it's about. I know that Rachel has read it and really liked it, and I am looking forward to reading it because I do love Jen Armentrout. Then I was lucky enough to get invited to a party with the lovely folks at Berkeley Romance, and so I was able to snag a couple of arcs. First we have When We Left Cuba, which is by Chanel Clayton. This is the companion novel to Next Year in Havana, which I recently read, and this one focuses on a different Perez sister. This time it's Beatriz, and after the events of the other one, I'm dying to read this and find out her story. Then we have a book that actually comes out way later this year, and it's called Not the Girl You Marry. So the main dude character in this one is tasked to write a piece for the magazine that he works for called How to Lose a Girl. And then he encounters Hannah, who is an event planner, and she is working on, like, you know, making her mark. And she has kind of an image problem because her boss doesn't think like she's the type who can plan, like, a, you know, romantic wedding and stuff like that. And so Jack enters her life, seems to fit situationally because, you know, she only needs him for like that purpose and he only needs her for that purpose. So they have sort of a fake relationship, and I am ready for it.
Until it stops being fake. No,
I know. And then we have The Bookish Life of Nina Hill by Abby Waxman, which has an adorable cover. And it is about Nina. She is, you know, typical bookish character, works in a bookstore, lives with her mom, very good at planning things, has a cat. She actually ends up eventually finding out that her father has died. She has never known that all her life, and she ends up with a huge family that she did not even know existed.
Oh, that's the treat. And
that's not her thing. Like, she's not, like, she's a very solitary person, so to have this entire thing thrust upon her is a bit overwhelming.
So basically my childhood. All right,
and then also at trivia, which is something she also loves to do, she finds that her nemesis is actually interested in her, so that leads to a lot of confusing feelings. The next book is one I finally caved and bought, and that's Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren. This is their debut published novel. It's about Bennett and Chloe, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Cannot wait to read it though, because I just need more Christina Lauren in my life. While we were in DC, we stopped by Kramer Books, and because I am trash and have to get a book every time I travel and go to a new bookstore, picked up Good Omens by
Yes, I was gonna buy Book Omens. I didn't Book Omens. I was wanting to buy Good Omens
because I want to read it. First of all, because I want to read it before the Amazon Prime series starts airing because David Tennant. But second of all, because I have been staring at this book for like some time now, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna cave and buy it, and you know, okay, you can take that. Fun story. I also ended up with another copy of Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, so this one is going to be part of a giveaway. While I was down at ApollyCon, I ended up buying a finished copy of The Devil's Thief by Lisa Maxwell. This is the sequel to The Last Magician. The Last Magician is set in the 1900s in New York, and it involves a group of ragtag magic users who are trying to find a way to lower they call it the brink, that is preventing any of them from leaving New York safely. And aside from that, there's a heist in there, there's time travel in there, it's really great, and the sequel was also very good, and I'm dying to read book 3. So the last couple of things I'm going to show you are an entire completed series, and here's the thing, I originally wasn't planning to buy them, but I totally blame Rachel for how So this is the entire Covenant series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So there's Half-Blood, Pure, Deity, Apollyon, and Sentinel, and this is her YA series that is inspired by Greek mythology. Ooh. Which obviously I am here for. Also, these cover redesigns are flipping amazing.
They're gorgeous, actually.
And I just love them so much, and I cannot wait to read this series. Finally, we are here at the end of this book haul. We made it! So those are all the books we acquired in the month of March. If you are interested in hearing more about any of them, or if you've read any of them and want to tell us to read them sooner rather than later, definitely do that. We'd love to know what what your favorite book acquisition in March was. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you are interested in seeing more videos from us, we upload every Friday for the most part. We try. Anyway, we'll see you guys with another video soon. Bye!